Excuse me, this is the review for Advanced Algebra 1, the first semester exam. So here we go. We'll just get started. Number 1 has 5 times the quantity x plus 2 minus 4x equals 21. So we need to distribute that 5. 5x plus 10 minus 4x equals 21. Adding like terms and getting rid of that 10 gives us x equals 11. And that's that. Number 2, 4 loaves of bread plus 2 packages of cheese cost $35. That's some expensive bread and cheese. The cost of a packet of cheese is $2.50 more than the cost of 1 loaf of bread. So this is a story problem where we read and we write the equations. 4 loaves of bread plus 2 packages of cheese is $35. The cheese costs $2.50 more than the bread. So to get that second equation, I use that. And then this is set up for substitution. 4b plus 2 times c, which is b plus 2.5, equals 35. So 4b, distributing the 2 now, plus 2b plus 2.5 times 2 is 5. And then again, adding like terms, getting rid of that 5, I get 6b equals 30. And then I divide both sides by 6, and a loaf of bread costs $5. And let's see, what is the combined cost of 1 loaf of bread? So that's $5. And 1 packet of cheese. Well, a packet of cheese is the bread plus 2.5. So a packet of cheese is $7.50, right? So a loaf of bread plus a packet of cheese would be $12.50. So that's one where we had to take our answer and take it a step further and find out, answer another question. So we have the formula: volume equals 1/3 pi r squared h. And we want to solve that for h. Remember, the first thing that I would do here is multiply everything by 3 and get rid of that fraction. So 3v equals pi r squared h. And I want to get h by itself, so I need to divide both sides by pi r squared. And so h is 3v over pi r squared. 4. Solve and graph the solution. 4 times the quantity x minus 2 minus 6x is less than x minus 2. So we need to do some simplifying before we can actually get to the point of solving it. This is going to be 4x minus 8. And then 4x and 6x is going to be minus 2x. And then I'm going to subtract x from both sides. And I get negative 3x minus 8 is less than negative 2. I'm going to add 8 to both sides. I get negative 3x is less than 6. And then to solve that, I divide both sides by negative 3. And when I divide by a negative, I flip that inequality. So x is greater than negative 2. And that goes on the answer blank. Okay, that is part of our answer. And if that's not there, and all you have is the graph, then you don't have it done correctly. Okay, so now we're going to do And open circle at -2 and greater than will be going that way. Number 5. Solve the absolute value equation. The absolute value of x minus 8 equals -2. Isolate the absolute value first. We have to isolate the absolute value before we can apply the definition of absolute value. So we add 8 to both sides to get the absolute value by itself. And I get the absolute value of x is 6. Okay. And then to apply the definition of absolute value, this is asking us what numbers are 6 units from 0, because that is the definition. The absolute value of a number is its distance from 0. And so we say that x is +6 or x is -6, because both of those are 6 units from 0. Okay. Number 6 has us, what is the value of x in the equation? 2x minus 5 times the quantity x minus 1 equals -4. And what they are testing us on here is whether or not we can distribute that negative correctly. Okay, so that's going to be 2x minus 5x plus 5, because I have to distribute that negative. Okay, combine like terms, -3x, subtract 5 from both sides, and I get -3x equals -9. And then divide by -3, x is 3. Number 7, we have the absolute value of x minus 3 is less than 4. And I don't remember if I showed you guys the geometric way to solve this. So I'll just apply the definition of absolute value to the less than. We write a conjunction. We write -4 is less than x minus 3 is less than 4. And then for this, we would add 3 to all 3 parts. And we get -1 is less than x is less than 7. And then that's part of our solution. The other part of our solution is the graph, which would be an open circle at -1 and an open circle at 7 and everything in between. X is between them. And you didn't see that because my paper's not pulled up enough. So open circle at -1, open circle at 7, and x is between them. Okay. Number 8. Graph the linear equation and identify the slope and the y-intercept. Y equals -3x minus 4. So the graphing, it's already in slope-intercept form. Thank you. 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. If it wasn't in slope-intercept form, I would put it that way, solve for y. Okay. So I have my graph already. My intercept is -4. My slope is -3. So I'm going to rise -3, and I'm going to run +1. Or I could have risen +3 and run -1. And that's my line. And then it says identify the slope. The slope is -3. And the y-intercept is 0, -4. Okay. Where am I? Number 9 says write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form that passes through the points 10, -4, and 6, 12. So 2 things I need to write the equation of a line. I need a point and I need the slope. Well, if they give me 2 points, I can find the slope. I take 12 minus negative 4 over 6 minus 10. And that's going to give me 16 over negative 4. My math is correct. And 16 over negative 4 is negative 4. So we use slope-intercept form. Y equals negative 4x plus b. Then to find b, I plug in one of my points. I'm going to plug in 6 for x and 12 for y because those are both positive. So I'll have 12 equals negative 4 times 6 plus b. 12 equals negative 24 plus b. Then I would add 24 to both sides, and I get b is 36. And then I plug that in to write my final equation. Y equals the slope times x plus y-intercept. That is in slope-intercept form. Number 10. What is the equation of the vertical line that passes through the point 4, negative 3? Well, vertical lines are x equals lines, right? So in this ordered pair, what does x equal? X equals 4. So what's the equation of the vertical line through that point? X equals 4. We can also look at that graphically. 4, negative 3 is here, and I want the equation of this vertical line. Okay, and that vertical line is x equals 4. Number 11 says, write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form that has x-intercept 3. So that is the point 3, 0. And y-intercept 6. That's the point 0, 6. And so they haven't done anything different. They've just disguised how they're going to give me the points. But the 2 points are 3, 0 and 0, 6. The advantage of this is that 0, 6 is the y-intercept. And so once I find the slope, I'm essentially done with the problem. So to find the slope, I take 6 minus 0 over 0 minus 3, which is 6 over negative 3, which is negative 2. Okay? Which means the equation of my line is y equals negative 2x plus the y-intercept, which they gave me, is 6. That's all there is to that. Number 12, write the equation of the line in slope-intercept form of the line that passes through the point 8, 4 and is perpendicular to the graph of y equals negative 1/2 x plus 1. So in order to write the equation of the line, again, we need to know a point and we need to know the slope. And we do. They just disguised the way we know the slope. The slope of this line is negative 1/2. The slope of the line perpendicular to it is the opposite reciprocal of that. So the opposite reciprocal of negative 1/2 is 2. And so we have y equals 2x plus b. And then we're going to plug in this point, 8, 4, to find b. So I'm going to plug in 4 for y. And 2 times 8 is 16 for that value. And I'm going to subtract 16 from both sides. I get negative 12 equals b. So my answer is y equals 2x minus 12. Okay, and that's That's that. 13. Write an equation in slope-intercept form that passes through the point -8, 5, and has a slope of -3. So they gave me everything I need. Y equals -3x plus b, and then plug in 5 for y and -8 for x. 5 equals 24. Subtract 24 from both sides, and kind of an ugly y-intercept, but we'll live with it. So my answer, y equals -3x minus 19. Okay, so 14. Let's see. Graph the line, state the slope and the y-intercept. Y equals -2/3 x plus 1. Excuse me. So it's already in slope-intercept form. If it weren't, I would put it in slope-intercept form. So my intercept is 1, and then my slope is -2/3. So I'm going to go down 2 and run 3 to the right, or I could have gone up 2 and run 3 to the left. And oops, I missed that middle dot. Sorry. And there's that line. Okay, and it says identify the slope. The slope is -2/3, and the y-intercept is 0, 1. Okay. And number 15. They're giving me the equation of that line in point slope form. And let's see, -3 times the quantity x minus 1. So they're giving it to me in point slope form, and we can see the slope and we can find a point, but I can't look at it and tell you what the y-intercept is. So we could graph it and try to figure out the y-intercept. I don't know if it's going to come out as a nice number. I would rather work it algebraically and transform this equation into slope-intercept form. So to do that, I need to distribute that -3, and then I need to subtract 2 from both sides. And I get y equals -3x plus 1. So as I said, the slope we already knew, and it's not asking for the slope, it's asking for the y-intercept, which is 0, 1. Number 16. A hardware store rents vacuum cleaners that customers may use for part of a day up to 12 hours before returning. The store charges a a flat fee plus an hourly rate. Write a linear function f for the total rental cost of a vacuum cleaner. I'm going to go ahead and pull this paper over here and do the work on the actual worksheet. So what they're asking us for there is the slope, define the slope and the y-intercept, and write the equation of the line. And that's what we're gonna do. You can pick whatever 2 points you want. I usually pick the first point and the last point. So the slope is 34 minus 22 over 3 minus 1. And 34 minus 22 is 12, I believe. And 3 minus 1 is 2. And that reduces to 6. My slope is 6. Y equals 6x plus b. Then I'm going to plug in that first point where y is 22 when x is 1. And so I would subtract 6 from both sides there and get that b is 16. And so that gives me the equation y equals 6x plus 16. As it turns out, that 6 in front of the x is the slope. That's how much they charge per hour. And the 16 out here is the flat fee. Okay, so what is the flat fee that the store charges? $16. A reasonable domain, it actually says that they can only rent it up to 12 hours. So we could say that 0 is less than or equal to x is less than or equal to 12 would be a reasonable domain. And then what would it cost to rent the vacuum for 7 hours? That means I come back to my equation and I plug in 7 for x. I get 42 plus 16. 42 plus 16 is 58. So that's what it would cost to rent the vacuum for 7 hours, or the cleaner, whatever it is. Okay. Let me go back to this paper. And I'm going to jump to number 17 now. And it says that f of x is x plus 3. And g of x is f of g of x is f of x minus 1. And this is just testing whether or not, assessing whether or not we understand function notation. And what this is asking us to do is to take x minus 1 and plug it into f for x. Okay, and that gives me my equation for g. So I'm going to plug in x minus 1 for x and get x minus 1. And then that plus 3 is still there. So x minus 1 plus 3. And so g of x is x plus 2. Simplify, add like terms. Number 18, I'm going to come back to the sheet here. And it says which of the following is an arithmetic sequence. And remember, definition of an arithmetic sequence is it has to have a common difference, right? And so like here, that means I either add or subtract the same thing over and over and over again. So here I went up 3, then I went up 5, then I went up 7. So no, that's not an arithmetic sequence. Here I went down 3, down 3, down 3, down 3, down 3. That is an arithmetic sequence. And then just to check and make sure, that went up 2, up 3, up 4, up 5. No. And then this went up 1, down 1, up 3, down 3. No. And then I want you to write a recursive formula for the sequence. Recall that a recursive formula, a sub n, is a sub n minus 1 plus d. And you have to identify a sub 1. Okay? So I fill in nothing for a sub n and a sub n minus 1. And the common difference is negative 3. And the first term is 9. Okay, that's the way we write that. You could also have just put -3, but I had already put the plus sign, so instead of erasing, I just put it like that. Recall what this means is that I can find any term in this sequence if I take the previous term and subtract 3. And I start at 9. So if I wanted to know the 50th term, I would have to subtract 3 50 times and go in sequence, and I would be able to figure it out. And that's the problem with the recursive formula, is that in order to find the 50th term, I have to know the 49th term. And to find the 49th, I have to know the 48th, etc., and so on. The explicit formula is preferred because with the explicit formula, all I have to do, the explicit formula is a sub n equals a sub 1 plus d times the quantity n minus 1. So I plug in a sub 1, which is 9. I plug in d, which is -3, and then I simplify that equation. So I distribute the -3. I get 9 minus 3n plus 3. So I get 12 minus 3n, and that's my explicit formula. A sub n equals 12 minus 3n. And I don't have to say what the first term is. I don't have to say anything. If I want to know the 50th term, I plug in 50 for n. I get 12 minus 150, so whatever that is. Okay. Next question, the correlation coefficient that we talked about, R. We found it on a graphing calculator, and we talked about, it's a range from -1 to 1. And the closer I am to 1, the stronger positive correlation I have. The closer I am to -1, the stronger negative correlation I have. So if I want a weak negative correlation, I want to be close to 0, but negative. Okay? For weak positive correlation, it'd be the other way. So let's see. R is -0.23684. That's close to 0. And -0.9, that's not. So I want a weak negative correlation, so I want A. Okay. Sorry, I'm going back and forth between the two sheets, but it just seems a little bit easier. So now we are on number 20, and we are supposed to solve the system of equations. Y equals 1/3 x plus 4, and 2x minus 3y equals 6. Well, this is set up for substitution. And so substitute, and we get, we're going to take this, we're going to substitute it in here for y. So I'm going to have 2x minus 3 times the quantity, 1/3 x plus 4. Again, this is going to test our skills on, do we know how to subtract that negative or distribute that negative? So I get 2x minus 3 times 1/3 is 1, so minus x, and then minus 12 equals 6. Add like terms, 2x minus x is x, and at the same time I can add 12 to both sides. I get x equals 18. And then I'm going to take that, I'm going to plug it in there for x, and that's going to tell me what y is. So y is 1/3 times x, which is 18, plus 4. And 1/3 times 18 is 6, plus 4 is 10. So where do these two lines intersect? They intersect at the ordered pair 18, 10, and that's how your answer should be written, as an ordered pair. Okay. Okay. Then we want to do that 2 more times. So see, that was 20, 20. So now we're going to do 21, which has 5x plus 2y equals 12. And y equals negative 3/2 x plus 4. So again, this is already set up for substitution. So I am going to take and substitute this into this top equation for y. So I'll have 5x plus 2 times the quantity, negative 3/2 x plus 4 equals 12. So again, I need to distribute that 2. That's going to give me, actually that's going to be a minus 3x, and then a plus 8. And that equals 12. Then combining like terms, 5x minus 3x is 2x. Subtracting 8 from both sides gives me 2x equals 4. Divide both sides by 2. X is 2. That was fun. And we're going to plug that in right there for x. And we get y equals negative 3/2 times 2. Negative 3/2 times 2 is negative 3. So y is 1. So where do these two lines intersect? Intersect at the point 2, 1. So much fun. Let's do it again. Let's see, 22 is 5x plus 6y equals 5. And x minus 2y equals 1. Well, this is set up for elimination. And when I look at it, I see a positive 6 here and a negative 2 here. If I make that negative 6, the y's would drop out. And to make that a negative 6, I need to multiply this by 3. Okay, so that's going to give me 3x minus 6y equals 3. And then I add the top equation, 5x plus 6y. And let's see, 3x plus 5x is 8x. And 3 plus 5 is 8. Divide both sides by 8. And x is 1. And then to find y, I can plug that into either of the top two equations. I'm going to plug it into that second one. So I'll get 1 minus 2y equals 1. Subtract 1 from both sides. Negative 2y equals 0. So y is 0. That happened on a quiz, and a lot of people had their work shown and had y, negative 11y, I think it was, equals 0, and then wrote that there was no solution. 0 is a number. 0 is a real number. So something can equal 0. You know, that just means that these two lines intersect on the y-axis, on the x-axis, sorry, because y is 0. So the ordered pair where these two lines intersect is the ordered pair 1, 0. Okay. And then the last two are from, the last two sections in topic 4 that we did. You guys did amazing with. I was so pleased with your quiz scores over this quiz, and hope that carries over to the test that the chapter 4 test that we're going to take, as well as on this final exam, because you guys did amazing on this quiz. So y-intercept is negative 1, and my slope is 2, so I'm going to rise 2, slope is 2/3, so I'm going to rise 2 and run 3. or I could rise -2 and run -3. And I get this line, and should it be solid or dotted? It should be dotted. And so, because it's strictly greater than, so a dotted line. And again, if you forget to dot it, just put a note that it's supposed to be dotted. You don't have to erase the whole thing or erase parts of it and try to make it look dotted. And then, do we shade above or below? Well, it's a greater than, so a rule of thumb should tell me above, right? I like to plug in the origin. I get 0 is greater than -1. That's a true statement. So yes, indeed, it is shaded up here. Okay. And the last one, 25. It's a good number. It's a perfect square. It's odd. It's a multiple of 5. We have y is greater than or equal to 2x plus 3. And y is less than or equal to -x minus 1. So again, you guys did awesome on this quiz, so I don't anticipate this being a problem on the final, and I hope I am right about that. So this first one, my y-intercept is +3, so I'm going to go right there and make a dot. And then I'm going to rise 2 and run 1, both positive. Or I could rise -2 and run -1, both negative. Then that should be a solid line, nice and crooked. And then greater than or equal to, it should be shaded this way. 0 is greater than or equal to 3. No, it's not. So it should be shaded this way, all right? My other line, the intercept's at -1. The slope is -1, so I'm going to rise -1 and run +1. Rise -1 and run +1. Or I could rise +1 and run -1. And that is also a solid line. Okay, it is less than or equal to. 0 is less than or equal to -1. It is not. So that should be shaded this way, all right? So that means my shadings overlap in here. Okay, and that's it.